The future. In most iterations of sci-fi, it sucks to live in it. This is no different. The Terminator, as most of you already know, is a robotic super soldier designed for infiltration and elimination of humans. Its feats of strength are incredible, being able to lift a metal-lined coffin weighing over a ton, filled with weaponry and a fully grown man inside with one arm. The unit then used the other arm to operate an M1919 Browning machine gun with insane accuracy. This model was the T-800, or to be more specific, the T-850. Today we are going to take a look at two of his adversaries, the Terminatrix, also known as the Anti-Terminator, and the face matter infected John Connor, also known as the T-3000. Hello guys, Vortex here and welcome to another Terminator video. I got this suggestion to do a versus video from a comment yesterday, and sure, I approved. I didn't have much to do today anyway, so what the hell. Plus, I'm fucking tired of people arguing in the comment section about which Terminator is the superior model. Short answer is that they're both terrible. JK. I'm gonna try and shed some light on the situation at least. So I will rate these fighters in 3 categories before setting them loose upon each other. Physical abilities, the technology at their disposal, and their battle tactics. So, let's get started, shall we? I apologize in advance for the many black screens that will appear in this video, but those are to ensure complete immunity towards the YouTube copyright system, and I apologize so much for them, but I'm sorry. Trying to edit around them would be too much time consuming. Round 1. Physical abilities. It is already proven that the T-800's strength is incredible, and the T-3000 is even stronger, being able to lift and throw a T-800 unit with one arm, without neither leverage or momentum. It is also stated that the T-3000 has the ability to rearrange its face matter to strengthen its muscle mass even further. Round 2. Technology. The T-3000's biggest advantage in a close quarters match is its ability to momentarily disperse its face matter and reassemble elsewhere. This missed ability was very effective against the T-800, but technology-wise I would actually favor the TX due to its incredible arsenal. We are shown that the T-3000 is vulnerable against magnetism since its face matter is being held together magnetically. It is also established that the T-3000 is vulnerable to electrical discharge, as are all Terminator models, but the difference here is that the TX carries the epic game changer within her onboard arsenal. The specific ones that seem interesting for this matchup are the main plasma weapon, the EMP generator, and the nano disruptor. Plasma itself is ionized gas, and when it is weaponized it carries a devastating thermal transfer effect. The EMP generator is a devastating weapon of its own. If the TX can generate an electromagnetic pulse without damaging itself, logic dictates that the unit must contain some sort of internal isolation, shielding the individual components with conductive material within its chassis. This leaves the T-3000 completely open to this form of attack. And finally, the nano disruptor, which really just speaks for itself. The face matter, which the T-3000 is composed of, consists entirely of nanites. If the so-called nano disruptor lives up to its name, well, we wouldn't really have much of a fight here, so I'm gonna grant this round to the TX. But there is one catch. If the T-3000 manages to survive the onslaught of nano disruption as well as EMP and reassemble, then the T-3000 would have an advantage against the TX's weaponry. But that is a debate of its own. Round 3. Battle tactics. As for their tactics, I favor the T-3000 due to its human origin, which is a very important factor since it adds a layer of unpredictability to its behavior. And to top it all off, it's not just any human, it's John Connor himself. As a final verdict, I say that if it were a blitz battle and the two opponents fought straight to the death right here and right now, I slightly favor the TX. But if it's a battle in the long run, maybe a first encounter, then one of them retreats to rethink his/her strategy, then the T-3000 might have an advantage, since he is composed completely by nanites and has no problem repairing himself, while the TX has an endoskeleton underneath her mimetic polyalloy, which if damaged could prove to be a major hindrance in a future battle between the two. If the T-3000 were to close the distance, it would be all over, due to his speed and strength advantage. Let's say this fight takes place on the parking lot outside of the Coral Bar in LA. The two combatants spot each other from across the lot, and they start to scan one another to get a sense of what they're dealing with. The TX seems to have trouble scanning John, but she sees that something is off, and starts to peel back the polyalloy from her right arm, and fires off a plasma round. John manages to dodge it, but just barely. She continues to fire, and eventually hits John in the shoulder, and he is flung several meters with a corkscrew spin. His face matter begins to reassemble, but not to 100%, since some were destroyed by the massive heat transference. The TX switches weapons to her nanodisruptor, since she sees the weakness of the T-3000. John realizes that he must act quickly. The TX is a threat and must be terminated. He removes his infiltration appearance and transfers nanite capacity to his drive motors and muscle mass. He rushes the TX, who just barely gets a shot off with the nanodisruptor, and it hits John just below the kneecap, and he staggers, but his massive momentum propels him into the TX, and they start to exchange blows for blows. The TX is undamaged at this point and has the upper edge, but due to his unpredictable patterns combined with his missed abilities, John manages to keep up, and suddenly he gets a grip on the TX weapon arm and crushes it in his hand. With only one arm operating, and the TX endoskeleton starts to give way to the overwhelming assaults from the T-3000. Both are very damaged, but John is in his element, at the heart of battle. John reconfigures one of his arms into a stabbing weapon and impacts the TX chest plate, penetrating her secondary subprocessor. She calculates that the only probability of victory at this point is to use her EMP weapon to disable the T-3000's nanites. She activates it just as John terminates her processor. The blast obliterates John, scattering pieces of him all over the parking lot. After the dust has settled and the sparking pieces of what's left of the TX endoskeleton and her deactivated polyalloy leaking from the reservoirs, the T-3000 starts to reassemble, slowly but surely, and thus I declare the T-3000 as the victor. Note that this was a very, very even fight, and John did not walk away unscathed. It's doubtful that he can make a full 100% recovery, but if he can, it would take a while before he's ready. So in conclusion, I judge that the T-3000 would do fairly well in a hand-to-hand encounter, but since the TX carries onboard weapons, it adds a unpredictable factor that makes it hard to actually come to a conclusion. So, let's put it like this. If the TX manages to keep John at bay and at a distance, pin him down with suppressive fire of plasma and or nanite disruption combined with EMP abilities, the TX would most likely win. But if the TX allows John to close the distance, it's pretty much over. So that's where it's at. The game changer lies in distance. At a distance, the TX has a massive advantage, but John is very fast, he's very quick, and once he comes in, he's gonna fuck up the TX. So, you'll be the judge. But I say that the T-3000 will win approximately 6 out of 10 times in that scenario. So, thank you guys so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Vortex out.